Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the Chef Yusuf Show, where we learn to cook the Islamic way. This Ramadan we're dedicated to learn everything we need to know about soups. In previous episode we learned how to make clear soups, we made thick soups. We learned all about thickening agents, and of course we did deal with cold soups, we dealt with stews versus soups, we learned some tricks from the can, soups from the can. In today's episode we'll go ahead and take a step further. We'll talk about fruit soups. When I talk about fruit soups, I'm talking about the real fruit, the sweet fruit. So this is the sweet soups that we're going to discuss. In today's episode, I'm going to make a warm fruit soup, and I'm going to make a cold fruit soup, and I'm going to show you a method. When you learn this method, you can make any fruit soups. If you know the foundation, the basic foundation, you can add any fruits if you like, and you will have a soup. So inshallah, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, to get started, I'm gonna go all the way to overseas. We're gonna go to a place called Norway. Norway, we have a soup there. It is really delicious. It uses a lot of the dried fruits that we're gonna soak with water. It is very commonly known in the Norway area. So let's go ahead and get started, inshallah. You will see in the table here, there is a lot of mess, but don't worry, it is just simple few things. I just added the bags to show you what do we need. For the main ingredients, we do have an apple, we do have an orange, and we do have a lemon. And of course we have one cinnamon stick. And of course we have here some of the dry varieties. The first variety we have is apricots. How much apricots? You can put a handful of apricots. So I'm going to use a handful of apricots. I'm using a handful of plums. This is pitted plums that comes in bag as a dry fruit. And of course I have some raisins over here. I have black raisins, a little bit of black raisins. Go ahead and add whatever in this bag. I just have a little bit. We'll mix it with some yellow raisins. So this will be like a handful or so. So we're doing now equal amounts of apricot, plums, and some golden raisins mixed with some black raisins. Over here I have some cranberry, right? You know what? I don't even like cranberry. I don't know why I brought this out. But the point is here is to show you if you like certain fruits, you can add. And if you don't like certain fruits, you can avoid. And you don't have to follow exactly written recipes. Every time you look at the recipe, look at the instructions and know the method that they use to cook, and add whatever recipe that you want. This is the point of this show over here, is to educate you on how to cook and not what to cook. Of course, we do have the thickening agent, which is going to be a new thickening method, which is the method of using starch. We did use roux in previous episode, but we never got the chance to work with tapioca. This is medium-sized tapioca. We only need 4 tablespoons, which is really a similar portion of the fruits that we have here. So this will be our thickening agent. Tapioca, when we cook it, it will become starchy, it will expand, it will release its starches, and it will become a thickening agent. Okay, in the side we do have a can of cherries, pitted cherries in some kind of juice. So this will come later in the episode. For the ingredients, we also want some water and we want some sugar. And the sugar, the reason for the sugar is just in case if everything turns out not to be that sweet, you can sweeten it as you like. But in previous episodes, we always talked about not cooking with water. Why? Because water is the flavorless liquid in the planet. Why would you want to cook in water? The reason we want to cook in water in this occasion is just in case if it's too sweet, we can cut the sweetness with water. Okay? Now, if you do want to add some sugar with water, why not add juice? So in this case, go ahead and get your favorite juice, and you can substitute adding sugar with water by using juice. Okay? So this is going to be really up to you on how sweet your ingredients are and how sweet you like your soup, the final ingredient, to be. So I'm going to get a knife here. I'm going to cut the ends. We'll start with the orange. We'll cut the half, and we'll use the half moon shapes for the orange. Now the interesting about the orange that it is also not just sour because of the citric, it also is bitter because we're using the zest of the orange. So we'll put the whole orange in a pot. Same thing with the lemon. This is where we're gonna get our acids from. I'm just gonna have half a lemon. The other half we'll use for a different application. Okay, so we'll put the orange, we put the lemon. We'll just dump in the tapioca. We'll dump in everything with the raisins, the plums. Make sure they're, the seeds are out, they're pitted, and the apricot. Put them in the beautiful pot. So technically we're adding all of the dry fruits with the tapioca, with the citric fruits, everything except for the apples and the cherries. Okay, and if you're a beginner at this, go ahead and add water. If you have done this before, go ahead and add the juice or the sugar, and you can play with the consistency. We'll add the water. Make sure everything is soaked in water. And this soup is actually is a 2-day preparation soup, so you have to soak everything in water, and this way the water will extract all of the moisture, all of the flavors, and especially the cinnamon will release some of its flavors, and the tapioca itself will become easier to cook. So we'll go ahead and leave this for 24 hours. Inshallah, we'll come back after 24 hours and we'll go ahead and finish the soup. We'll go ahead and add more water here and cook this mixture. Allow it to boil, let it cook for a few minutes, maybe 10-20 minutes. And in the meantime, we'll go ahead and get our can of cherries. We'll get our apple here. We'll go ahead and peel the apple and chop it. The apple, we'll go ahead and use some of our tools here. I'm going to go ahead and peel it off. Yeah, while I'm doing the apple here, I have a scooper here. We can just scoop the seeds out. So this is what the tools that I'm using. So you add the apple, when you add the heat on, and you allow this to cook for about half an hour. So at this case, we'll go ahead and open our black cherry, and we'll add this. And after we add this, we'll just cook it for 5 more minutes, and it should be over. Okay. Okay, just make sure a cherry is on top, and of course, because of the tapioca and the courtesy for bubble tea, we'll put it in a tea cup, and you can serve this. I believe this dish is called fruktsupa, but I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly. It comes from Norway. It is served hot. We'll go ahead and taste this. And when you taste this, you definitely can feel the bitterness from the peel of the orange. Extremely sweet from all of the fruits, and of course there is the citric from the acid. The tapioca, it gives it amazing texture. The apples with the cinnamon, they are married together. Very beautiful combination of flavor. It does cause an explosion in the mouth, so I'm not gonna brag about how tasteful this is. But the tapioca itself, when you chew on it, it also gives that wonderful texture. So this is one of the best soups, or soups of the fruit soups category, that I found that I wanted to share with you. It's beautiful at the time of Ramadan when you want something sweet after a long fasting day, when you have no energy, so something sweet will give you a boost. When we come back after the break, I'll go ahead and talk about a version of the soup from the fruit category, which is going to be cold. So this will be a cold fruit soup, will go very well with a hot month of Ramadan. So inshallah, we'll come back after the break. Do not go away. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to our program. We are still working with the fruits, and we are still making soup. So in the previous segment, we made the fruit soup that is something that can be served warm. That's something that we cooked. Inshallah, in today's episode, or this segment, we're gonna make something that is cold. In the colder side, you can have this as a dessert, and the children and the kids will always, thank you for it. It's something that you will encourage them to cook, and they will love to do it by themselves. I want to give the courtesy where I got this recipe from. This is from Elton Brown, the guy who is a genius, who has a Food Network program called Good Eats. So I'm going to give him the courtesy, and I'll show you here what we need for the ingredients. We do have a cucumber, which is actually scientifically to be fruit. A lot of children mistaken it for vegetable. So it is a fruit, and we have some tomatoes, or not tomatoes, tomalatos. If you don't know what that is, just get the greenest tomato that you'll find, maybe 6 mint leaves, and of course we have a cup of each of yogurt and a cup of nuts, walnuts, okay? And I have also a cup of your favorite juice, and I am using either grape juice or apple juice. Add a little bit of citric or maybe a little bit of vinegar. Remember, some cultures like to have their yogurt to be very sour, so depending what type of yogurt you buy, there are very extremely sour yogurt. So if you have a sour yogurt, go ahead and cut on the citric. So a classic will go ahead and peel the apple and go ahead and at the same time cut it, coat it, and chop it. Go ahead and remove the seeds with the ice cream scooper. We'll go ahead and chop the apple in a size that will fit in your soup. So relatively you want to have small pieces that you can fit inside a soup, a bowl of soup, with a spoon that you don't have to cut with a knife and a fork when you eat your soup. And for the cucumber here, I'm not going to peel it, but I have quite a bitter cucumber, and if you guys know what I mean. Sometimes you get a bitter cucumber, so we'll go ahead and remove the bitter seeds. Chop those as well. You know, in previous episode also we made something called gazpacho, which was from Spain, which was considered to be a cold soup. Well, the difference is that this is not going to be, gazpacho is not very sweet. And of course it does have some garlic and onions, so it's not really considered to be a fruit soup. So this is a purely fruit soup right here. So we have the apple, we have the cucumber, and we have here the green tomatillas. And let's go ahead and core them and use the same technique to chop them. Now, what is the difference between them and tomatoes? They are extremely sour side, And sometimes you will find a tomato that is sour, but this will give the citric taste to the salad, or to the soup, I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and mix the tomatillas, the apples, and the cucumbers. And what this is just a mixture of wonderful taste. We're gonna take half of this and we're gonna put it in a food processor. Over here we have a nice food processor that I never used before in my life, so hopefully I'll figure it out. I think this is open. All right, so just use half of them in the food processor and leave the other half. And the reason we do this is we want to have a little bit of chunkiness, a little bit of like a chew and a bite when it comes to our soup. Of course, we're gonna add the grapes. We'll add the walnuts. This is 1 cup. We'll add the mint leaf. Okay, and add the yogurt. This is also 1 cup. And over here we have your favorite type of juice. This doesn't look right, reminds me of something. But anyways, no matter what type of juice you use, do not use water and sugar. You only use that if you have a restaurant and you want to cut costs for some reason. But other than that, try to avoid using water and sugar. Always use a flavorful liquid instead. Go ahead and process this. Do not make it into a purification. We don't want to purify it, but we want to make it really softer and smooth, but a little bit chunkiness, right? This is what a food processor is, and we're not using a blender, that's why. So let's go ahead and start with low and get high a little bit. I think it should be enough, right? Now we will get this mixture added on top of our previously made cut apples and cucumbers. So here we go. Go ahead and cover this. put it in the fridge for maybe 1 hour, make it chill it, make it sure you cool it off, and when you serve it, go ahead and get yourself one of the beautiful cups. We're gonna just imagine that we chilled this and for 1 hour. Just add it over here, and trust me, children will adore this wonderful recipe, and of course it will go very well in the hot summer days of Ramadan as we have it right now in July or August. Make sure you say Bismillah. Alright, so let's go ahead and give this a taste test, and every time we make a taste test, we try not to act, every soup that we will make, and you will see this trend throughout the episodes. We have something sweet to balance something that is sour. That flavor of the yogurt is very wonderful. It blends in everything together, and also the walnut, it gives it that wonderful crush. Very similar to the first soup that we made, the tapioca, give it the same texture, and we have a balance of flavors. So you see this every time we make soups. This is how we try to tell you that this is a really wonderful, good tasting soup. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, when we come back after the break, I'm going to show you a method. If you learn how to make this method, you can make unlimited amount of fruit soups that you wish. Only if you change 1 or 2 ingredients or 3 ingredients, you can just learn the method, and you will make unlimited amount of soup. This is a technique you don't want to miss. We'll see you after the break. Do not go away. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alright, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to our program. I promised you I'm going to show you a method or a technique that you will learn, and from this method you will learn how to make unlimited type of soups. I'm talking about making a slurry, a cornstarch slurry. This is similar of making the Thai food, and you add the slurry. This is very similar. So we have here the juice of your choice, whatever juice that you like, apple juice, grape juice, whatever juice, and you want to add some cornstarch. Maybe add 1 tablespoon depending on the amount that you have. I think this should be enough, right? See how it's white in color? Maybe a little bit more. All right, so this is, we'll go ahead and get our soy pan, have some heat, and make sure you shake everything. Now, of course, when you stop mixing the slurry, all of the starches will go on the bottom, so you want to keep shaking this. Now, when you make a stir fry, you add this when the food is hot. So this way, the more that you cook it, the more it will get thick. The idea here is to get the fruit's juice get thickened, and there we can add it on top of any fruit that we desire. So let's go ahead and add this to the pan right now, and kind of mix it in, and start the starch to expand and do its thing, and this will thicken the soup or the fruit juice that we added with. The longer you simmer this, the thicker it will get. Just make sure you simmer it a little bit. And over here I do have an example of what we will add. So we will add some of the berries. We have 7 raspberries, 7 blackberries, and 7, not 7, but really strawberries that I'm going to go ahead and cut with my paring knife over here. And we want to cut this into a bite-sized pieces that we can eat with a soup. And this is really a dessert item, maybe something after iftar or at the iftar time. It's really up to you. So we'll add a little bit of this. So by changing the flavorful liquid, you can add whatever juice you want. You can add pineapple juice or watermelon, the juice of watermelon or cantaloupe. And by changing the berries or the fruits, that is the bite-sized pieces, you can have unlimited amount of soup. And I'll show you how this will come together. So give it a taste test. See if it needs more sugar. It is already getting thicker, as you can see. I don't know if you can see this, but it does not take a lot of cooking time. The thicker you like it, it's really up to you how thick you want it. But I don't like it to get it too thick, because because it is something that you can control later on. If you made it too thick, you just add a little bit of more juice on top of this, and really this is how simple and easy this is. You just add the soup. Basically this tastes like very much like apple cider, since we used apple juice. So we'll add it with the favorite type of berries that we have. We let it soak in. So this is a wonderful dessert, something that you can, it's really simple and easy to do. And as for this, you can serve it hot or cold. And go ahead and give it a taste. You know, simplicity, this is what is, you know, wow. You know, berries have wonderful taste and texture by themselves. You don't need to add anything else. Very sweet, very sour, very texture with the, you know, when you crush the seeds. This is a technique called, you know, cornstarch slurry. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you learned something today. We will talk to you next time with another episode of How to Learn to Cook the Islamic Way. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.